And we begin tonight with reality, which is sinking in a really big way. In the past week since the debate, we've been treated to a flood of newspaper op-eds led by the New York Times, of course, telling Joe Biden what to do, pundits telling him what to do, Democrats hand-wringing behind the scenes and leaking the hand-wringing to Politico and the Times so donors can tell Joe Biden what to do, and Dr. Joe Biden and apparently even Hunter telling him what to do. So let me tell you what this show is going to do. We are going to pay all of that the same amount of attention. The same amount of attention will go to that debate as Republican lawmakers and conservative media paid to the insurrection and the 34-count felony Donald Trump was convicted of and the $500 million penalty he owes the state of New York for bilking taxpayers and insurance companies and the jury finding that he sexually abused E. Jean Carroll in a Bergdorf Goodman's dressing room in the 90s and then defamed her. We will give it exactly that same energy. Because while I will never gaslight you, I'm not going to be out here saying that you didn't see what you saw last Thursday on that debate stage. You saw it. I saw it. Everybody who frantically texted me saw it. And there are plenty of places that you can go to hear about whether and how the Democratic candidate, not the criminal candidate, should step aside. Y'all Democrats handle that. Figure it out and let me know. Because what I know is that Donald J. Trump cannot be allowed back into the White House. Full stop, period. Because Donald Trump is a dangerous, felonious wannabe autocrat who is vowing to release hundreds of violent insurrectionists from prison by pardoning them, to open internment camps on U.S. soil and round up millions of undocumented migrants to put there, and sic the Justice Department on his declared enemies. He has called for the execution of people he doesn't like, including former Joint Chiefs Chairman Mark Milley. He has admitted he wants to be a dictator, like his favorite dictators, Vladimir Putin, China's Xi Jinping, and the dictator of North Korea, Kim Jong-un. And please spare me the on day one bit. They all vow to be only a dictator on day one. Second, Project 2025 cannot be allowed to be implemented in the United States. It is straight up fascism, which would unleash the U.S. military on American citizens like an official death squad, turn the federal government into the equivalent of the Chinese parliament or the Russian Duma, where you have to take a personal oath to the official party and to the president to keep your job. It would unleash a national abortion ban, using federal agencies to end access to everything from contraceptives to IVF to books and more. It means turning this country literally into Gilead from The Handmaid's Tale, except with tariff-induced 100% inflation. And if you were to combine a Trump autocracy, a fully Christian nationalist Republican Party in control of both houses of Congress, and the current Supreme Court majority, well, Katie, bar the door and unleash the devil, because we would be finished as a democracy. Because on Monday, days before this country celebrates its independence from the British king, the Leonard Leo VI Supreme Court majority, in a ruling written by Chief Justice John Roberts, ruled as follows, quote, under our constitutional structure of separated powers, the nature of presidential power entitles a former president to absolute immunity from criminal prosecution for actions within his conclusive and preclusive constitutional authority. And he is entitled to at least presumptive immunity from prosecution for all his official acts. There is no immunity for unofficial acts. In regular people terms, the court has said that Donald Trump is absolutely immune from prosecution from any act that he took while he was president, including ordering the Justice Department to draw up fake voter fraud allegations in order to help him steal the election that he lost. They ordered the lower courts to review whether Trump sending a mob to intimidate Mike Pence into accepting fake electors instead of the real ones, and Trump pressuring states to send fake electors to get Pence to go along with the scheme is part of a president's official acts, as if that is even possible. But the bottom line of their ruling is as bad or worse than the worst case scenario that anyone except those of us who have figured out this court's utter depravity anticipated when Justice Sotomayor asked Trump's lawyer this question.
If the president decides that his rival is a corrupt person and he orders the military or orders someone to assassinate him, is that within his official acts that for which he can get immunity?
It would depend on the hypothetical, but we can see that could well be an official act.
According to Roberts, yeah. He could use SEAL Team 6 to kill an opponent, as long as he did it officially. There were a number of tells in this ruling that should make you think a lot about Project 2025. Roberts called repeatedly in his ruling for a president to be free to take bold and unhesitating action without fear of prosecution, even if said bold action includes brazenly breaking the law. When Trump says he'd like to order the Justice Department to prosecute the Biden family and anyone else for made-up crimes, John Roberts offers this on page 28, quote, "The executive branch has exclusive authority and absolute discretion to decide which crimes to investigate and to prosecute, including with respect to allegations of election crime." And if that political prosecution is a sham, let's go to page 29. Quote, "The indictment's allegations that the requested investigations were shams or proposed for an improper purpose do not divest the president of exclusive authority over the investigative and prosecutorial functions of the Justice Department and its officials." Want to implement the Project 2025 plan to fire 50,000 federal employees who failed to take the loyalty oath? Okay, let's go to page 28. The president's management of the executive branch requires him to have unrestricted power to remove the most important of his subordinates, such as the attorney general, in their most important duties. I mean, you have to be bold and decisive to implement the right-wing agenda, am I right? Unsurprisingly, the three liberal justices dissented, with the principal dissent written by Justice Sonia Sotomayor, who ripped the white sheet off the majority's argument, writing, "The President of the United States is the most powerful person in the country and possibly the world. When he uses his official powers in any way, under the majority's reasoning, he now will be insulated from criminal prosecution. Orders the Navy SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival, immune. Organizes a military coup to hold onto power, immune. Takes a bribe in exchange for a pardon, immune, 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 immune." And she closes her scathing dissent this way. "Never in the history of our republic has a president had reason to believe that he would be immune from criminal prosecution if he used the trappings of his office to violate the criminal law. Moving forward, however, all former presidents will be cloaked in such immunity. If the occupant of that office misuses official power for personal gain, the criminal law that the rest of us must abide by will not provide a backstop. With fear for our democracy, I dissent." But it is the separate dissent written by Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson that reveals the real scheme here. Quoting from her dissent, "With the adoption of a paradigm that sometimes exempts the president from the dictates of the law, when the court says so, this court has effectively snatched from the legislature the authority to bind the president or not to Congress's mandates, and it has also thereby substantially augmented the power of both the office of the presidency and itself. Who will be responsible for drawing the crucial line between the president's personal and official affairs? To ask the question is to know the answer. A majority of this court, applying an indeterminate test, will pick and choose which laws apply to which presidents by labeling his various allegedly criminal acts as core, official, or manifestly or palpably beyond the president's authority. In other words, to put it in Game of Thrones terms, America now has a king and 6 hands of the king. Happy effing Independence Day.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.